tuned into the Lady O Show here in the studio. We have some special guests in the studio with me on tonight, and our topic tonight, we will be dealing with domestic violence, and you know what, it's real. So we're going to have that discussion on this evening. We have Carmel Brooks, who lost her mom to domestic violence back in 1988. And I'm telling you, to hear this story, the amazing story, how she was able to forgive the killer that killed her mom, that says a lot about being able to walk in the spirit of forgiveness. So let's just celebrate her and appreciate her for that. Okay, so what we have here tonight, domestic violence topic, it's real, it's going on everywhere, we hear it a lot in our country, our state, and in the world. It's going on. Also, I have the privilege to have special guests with me tonight, Natalie. Let's celebrate Natalie on tonight. Carmel Brooks and Natalie. Last name, please. Graham. I will never forget that last name, Graham. I have someone very dear to me. Last name is Graham. So Natalie Graham is here, Carmel Brooks, and we're going to open up for discussion on tonight. If you're tuned in, or if you know anybody out there that have experienced domestic violence, tell them to tune in tonight. You can tune in, and if you want to download the app, if you have an Android phone, you can download the app, tune in, then type in BeExposedRadio.com, and then go in and pull down the Lady O Show, and you'll be able to tune in and hear what's going on. Also, if you need to call in tonight, you can call in at 1-855-835-5857, extension 1, or please text us tonight at 443-642-9403. And ladies, if you want someone to call in or text to let them know you're here in the studio, the Lady O Show, please do so now. You can take that opportunity and give them that information to give you a shout out. All right, we're here tonight. Her mom's name was Marcella Stewart, and they called her Cedar. Wow, she was a beautiful young lady. I have the picture here, and I'm telling you, it's a heart-touching story. So, Carmel, what I'm going to do, I'm going to open it up to you and just kind of share with us about what happened to your mother that day back in 1988 when your mother was killed towards domestic violence.
Well, I was 17 years old. It was a Friday night. My mother lived in Wilmington, and I happened to be on the Eastern Shore visiting my grandmother because she was having like a major surgery.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And my mother was supposed to meet me there the next night. However, her boyfriend had broken into her apartment and waited for her to get off and work. And once inside her apartment, he beat her, he stabbed her, he played into the scars that he did, but ultimately he set her on fire.
Well, let me ask you something before we move forward with what actually happened that particular day. Was you noticing domestic violence on an ongoing basis? Was she experiencing that, or was this a one-time thing?
No, it was something my mother never talked about. I was the only child, and I was very sheltered. So a lot of things my mother did not allow me to be exposed to. And when you're not looking for something, you don't see it. You know, you think that everything is fine because, again, this man helped raise me for 9 years.
Wow.
So that means he brought my first bike. He brought my first color television. You know, he took me out like he was my dad. So I would never think that he would do something like that to my mother.
So, my God, that experience something like that at such a young age. So your mental capacity, how was you going through after losing your mother at the age 17? How did you deal with this? How did you cope? Did you have anybody to help you, to assist you with this? Because this was devastating.
I coped, I think, in a way that I needed questions. And what happened in my coping, I ran into God. And that began my relationship as far as wanting to get to know God. Because if I had that question, he was the only one that would be able to give me the answer. So that's what really kept me focused, you know.
I mean, losing your mother, was you angry or bitter, or upset because what this man took away your loved one, your mom, your mother.
I was very angry. As a matter of fact, the cousin that was supposed to pick up my mother is the one that came to me to tell me that my mother's house had been on fire. And I could not understand why you would leave my mother if you were supposed to bring her. And I commenced in slapping him continuously. So that was my anger.
That was your anger. Wow. So let me ask you this. Years later, this happened in 1988. When did you go to visit the prisoner? Explain to us. No, we're going too far. Let's come back to the situation itself. Okay, your mom was killed. You had to go through all of that because you're the only child.
Yes.
So that was hard. No siblings to help you through this?
No siblings or nothing. So that's planning the funeral. That's sitting there by myself because I didn't really have a relationship with my father. He was in it, but in my life, but he really wasn't in my life. So 17 years old, planning a funeral, having to pick out caskets and all of those different things. Also sitting through 2 weeks of a trial by myself.
Wow, so you had it really hard as a young lady, had to deal with all of that situation, mom being murdered, you had to take care of the funeral arrangements. So your life, you became an adult immediately almost.
Instantly.
Wow.
And I had a 1-year-old daughter.
So a young mother faced with all of these tragedy.
Yes.
So looking back now as we move forward, you was able to, years later, how long did it take you to make communication with the murderer, the killer?
14 years.
14 years later. So listen out there, radio audience, you are tuned into the Lady O Show, where we have the special guest on tonight, Carmel Brooks, where her mother was murdered back in 1988 in regard to domestic violence. It's real. Many people are losing their lives between this domestic violence. People telling you they love you, but yet how do they love you and hit you or beat on you like that? Listen, I need you to call in at 1-855-835-5857, extension 1, or text us at 443-642-9403. And tonight's topic is domestic violence and how it's real, it's serious, it's happening everywhere. And how can we deal, or if we find out or see signs of domestic violence, how can we help people out? To see it, was it some type of signal, like I was asking you earlier, that your mom, you didn't have a clue, you was clueless?
But now in hindsight, after it happened, you started to think about things that were being said, things of how he treated, needing to know where my mother was. You know what? I'm looking at it as love, but it was really control.
It was control. I was going to ask that word.
Yes, I love you, and I love you to death.
I believe we have a phone call. Do we have a phone call? Hello, this is the Lady O Show. Hello? Did we lose that call? You're tuned into the
they're still on the line.
Okay, can you say something if you're on the line? You're tuned into the Lady O Show. How can I help you? We're going to keep moving with the program. Hopefully I'll call back. But anyway, thank you, caller, for calling in. Feel free to call us back because we want to answer questions. How can we identify when someone is being involved in domestic violence? What are some of the signs, the signals of what's going on? Like you said, keep going.
But my thing was that I can now remember him saying, "Woman, I love you to death." You know, I remember conversations. If I can't have you, nobody else ain't gonna have you. And my mother's response is, go ahead with that. Not really taking it serious.
Hard, right. Wow, so you was able to hear that. So listen out there, if you're experiencing that domestic violence, somebody telling you nobody want to have you, or
if I don't,
and nobody else will, take that to heart, because people's words are powerful, and people say stuff like that. You better listen and take heed. If somebody is really controlling, look at that relationship. You shouldn't be in a controlling relationship. It should be where you can love on each other, but don't have nobody beating on you and pulling on you and threatening you. And if you got somebody keeps following you and kind of like overprotecting you, that's not good. That's dangerous. Those are some signal signs.
And being jealous of me.
Wow.
Me and my mother had a relationship. My mother was my best friend. It was just her and I. And his relationship, why do you have to do that for her? Why do you have to do so much for her? My mother said that her main goal was to see me graduate.
I think we have another call. You're tuned into the Lady O Show. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, hello. This is Lady O. Who's calling in?
I'm on mute, I think.
I can hear you.
Hello?
Hello? I can hear you. Keep talking.
Hi, this is Lisa.
Hi, Lisa. You called to speak to Carmel?
Yes, I called to speak to Carmel and also to support her.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. Oh, we appreciate you. When we need that support, thank you so much. Here's Carmel now.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Carmel. How are you, sweetheart?
I'm doing good.
Good, good. I just called in to support you because I know it was a difficult time when you lost your mother. But you are strong, and I'm glad that you're doing this because this will help a lot of people.
Yes, and you know, it actually too, when it's somebody that knows what I've been through,
Yes.
to call in to support, that really means a lot.
Wow, that's great. We appreciate you, Lisa. Thank you. And looking at Carmel, she's a very strong young lady, and we're so proud of her to have been able to go through something like this, to be able to come out a beautiful young lady that she is. We appreciate her. Let's just celebrate her and appreciate her right now. And Lisa, thank you so much for calling in.
Okay, bye.
You're very welcome.
Great. Now that says a lot about you. For someone years later that know your story, know your situation, can call and celebrate you and appreciate you as a strong woman, and to be able to talk about this years later, you're going to help a lot of people out there that's coping and dealing with domestic violence.
Yes, and what I want out of going around and talking about domestic violence is to break the silence. It's okay to tell somebody, because I really feel that if my mother had opened up, she would have still been here today.
Yes.
You know, and so me having to go through life without my mother at the time that I needed, I feel so drawn to young women who don't have a mother, because I understand. When my mother's only desire was to see me graduate, and she was killed in January of the same year that I was going to graduate in May.
So that's devastating. Wow.
And so it became real to me when I graduated, and at this time I really didn't know God, but I know God had a plan in it.
Yes.
Because at my high school, you had to draw tickets. And it was A, B, C, D, you know, it just went up into the auditorium. I was the first one to pick, and I picked A.
Wow.
So my family had the front row of my graduation.
Of your graduation. Let's appreciate her family on tonight. Awesome. Her family was there to support her on that front row. Wow, that's beautiful.
Allow me, because you could have up to 7 people. All my aunts and my grandmother came to my graduation, and I was able to have a seat. And I brought roses and sat the roses in that empty seat.
The empty seat. Wow. What a heart-wrenching story on tonight. Again, you're tuned into the Lady O Show. I'm here tonight. The topic is domestic violence. I have a young lady here. Her name is Carmel Brooks. She grew up on the Eastern Shore, in the Eastern Shore area. Her mom was killed back 1988 to domestic violence. Her boyfriend killed her. He beat her up first and set her on fire.
Yes.
That is so sad. What a tragic story.
Yes.
Wow, and here to look at you today, a strong woman. You got some great things coming up. Let's appreciate her. Wow. We'll talk about that later. But we also have Natalie here, Graham here, and she has experienced not so much the domestic violence of the beating, but let's talk about verbal abuse. Is that real?
Yes, it
Yes,
is.
it is.
Very real.
Well, and why did you say it's real out, there?
Well, like what I went through, I'm sure a lot of women go through the verbal abuse, and it took me years to come through and come to be myself, where no one could take anything away from me, So it was something. It was something.
Wow. So you know what? Verbal abuse, and from what I understand, they said verbal abuse is just as bad
It is.
as someone hitting you, because what happened is verbal, it stays constantly in your
your
mind.
head,
You
yes.
relive it. You hear the words.
You do.
You hear the abuse, the
You do.
verbal talking. And I'm telling you, you'd be surprised. Women and men are
Yes.
abused, just not women. I hear a lot of men gets abused by women,
Yes.
vice versa. So it's real on both sides of the fence.
Yes, it is.
You agree,
I
ladies?
agree.
You agree?
I do agree. And you know something that I've learned through this, and just talking to other people, even verbal, what has happened, I feel like when we come out,
Excuse me, we have a text message that's just coming through. The Lady O Show is premier radio station of areas. All right.
The Lady O Show is the premier radio station of the area.
Of the area. Come on, let's give the Lady O Show a hand. Isn't that awesome? Wait, we're doing really good on the air. I'm excited. Our ratings are steadily going up, so we appreciate that. And we want to say we thank you and appreciate radio listeners for tuning in tonight, because of the mere fact domestic violence is real. We can't hide it. We can't sugarcoat it. It is real. And if you feel like you're being abused, go to the nearest station. They have places where you can go and get help, seek out help. You can call 311 or 911 and get out of there.
Yes.
They have places in place that can help you and assist you.
Yes.
Carmel, again, we have you here in the studio, and just reading the story, and I mean, he stabbed her, beat her before he even set the bed on fire. What a, I mean,
and he also is the one that called the fire department and the police department and waited on the other side of the street until they came.
wow. So after he did that,
He stayed the
had
whole
the-
night. He spent the night in there with her.
Wow.
With
My
everything that he had
God.
done to her, he spent the night, and the next morning is when he walked across the street and called the cops and the fire department. And once they got there, he walked the other way.
Well, let me ask you a question. How in the world did they realize he was the murderer? Because if he set the house on fire, he was trying to cover up the
Yes.
situation.
This is, I tell you that I know that this was just a plan, because he walked up the street, and I guess a mildly retarded white man realized that this man is a black man. And what he said in court was this: what made him think that he had done something, because he's the one that identified him, was because he said, I'm not prejudiced, but black people run when they see police cars and fire engines.
And so-
they don't run away, they run too.
To it.
Absolutely.
And so he was able to identify him as walking away. And also he had my mother's pocketbook under his arm and the cable wire that he strangled her with.
So he strangled her too. So
He strangled her and she was unconscious. So she
Wow.
wasn't dead. You know what I mean? All of the stuff he did, she was still alive.
oh my God, she died of a horrible death.
But do you know that when we got the autopsy back, her death certificate, my mother died from smoke inhalation.
So she really would have lived if they would have got her out of there.
When they found my mother, believe it or not, I'm telling y'all, God is in everything.
Yeah.
When they found my mother was at her balcony door in her bedroom with her arm reaching for the door, and the smoke overtook her because my mother had asthma. The smoke overtook her.
So that's what killed her, not the
Not
beating,
the beating, not the stabbing, not the
stabbing.
cigarettes he put out on her, and none of that.
So he tortured her. He literally tortured her, and before he killed. I mean,
Before he set her
the
on fire.
fire.
But she was numb. Evidently, she was in shock.
Yeah.
I'm
Yet her
quite
body
sure
never responded
to none of
but
that.
it was so God that when they found her, she was not in the bed. The bed was totally burned.
Wow.
My mother was burned on one whole side of her body because how her body was positioned. Her trying to crawl to the door, and the fire burnt the bottom part because that's what was on the floor.
On the floor.
Wow, this story really need to be put into a movie.
Yeah.
We really should look into a movie because this is real.
Yes, it is.
This is so real. Oh, wow. So I think we have a phone call. Hello, you're tuned into the Lady O Show. Hello.
Hello, how you doing?
Fine. Hi, Tommy. How are you doing tonight?
How are you? How's
I'm
it going?
fine. I have your beautiful, significant other sitting across from me, and she's smiling when she heard it was your voice. Let's celebrate and appreciate her fiancé on tonight on the air.
Yeah. I'm listening, but I can't help but call because I want to give her the kudos that she deserves on being a strong African American woman. She has surpassed perseverance.
Yes,
And I just want to call and just celebrate her this evening because this is a wonderful thing to be able to share and to give back to the community and be able to share her story. So
Absolutely,
I salute her
absolutely.
tonight.
We appreciate you, Tommy, for calling in. Isn't that great? We're giving you a clap. We hear the claps. We appreciate you because you know what? You're absolutely right. It takes courage to be able to share a story of this magnitude of losing your mom and being able to sit in the studio. This show is heard all over we are a syndicated station, so people are hearing this all over the world about your story of your mom. I mean, amazing. You amaze me. You are really stronger than what you think to be able to cope and to deal and to see how you came out. Because, Tommy, a lot of women that go through experiences like this, they are not whole. They are messed up. They are mental institutions. You agree with that?
This is one of the things that we have to definitely talk about because as a community, we need to start talking about domestic violence and how it can affect your family as a whole.
Absolutely.
Because this situation didn't just affect her; it affected her family and her friends, and and it's something that just never goes away.
It never goes away.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Tommy, we appreciate
God be the
you.
glory, and thank you.
Thank you so much. Wait a minute, let me just say this. This is her fiance that have called into the studio. She got some exciting news that's going on, and she'll share that later. But anyway, national radio station, tune in. You got to stay in. Some exciting things are happening in her life as well. So let's appreciate Carmel Brooks, and thank you for calling in, Tommy. I appreciate you.
Thank you, hon.
God bless.
Pastor James said hello.
Hey, Pastor, how you doing? Good.
Pastor, he said, hey, say hey. He said, hey, good.
I'll let you guys get back to your show.
Thank you
bless
so
all.
much for calling in. We appreciate you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Again, you are tuned into the Lady O Show here in the studio live with Carmel Brooks and my special guest tonight, Natalie Grant. You know what? I got full up. I'm going to come back at you. You know I'm excited. I'll be back at you in a couple of minutes. Thank you for tuning in. The Lady O Show.
So, I'm a dog, and I'm kind of new to this family, but I've noticed a trend. My humans do this thing where they go around and get all my toys and hide them in this basket. But it's always the same basket, and it's always the same place. And then they act so surprised when I find them. But I'm like, hello? That's where you put it last time. Humans are the worst at hide and go seek.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
The moment my son saw a redwood tree
It's huge!
is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing.
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
You are now listening to TheExposedRadio.com.
So, I'm a dog, and I'm kind of new to this family, but I've noticed a trend. My humans do this thing where they go around and get all my toys and hide them in this basket, but it's always the same basket, and it's always the same place, and then they act so surprised when I find them, but I'm like, hello? That's where you put it last time. Humans are the worst at hide and go seek.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
So, Jacqueline.
Yes, Mom?
I wanted to talk to you about something, and... Oh, wait. Hold on. I just got a text. Oh, there's another one. Wow. Busy me. So, anyway...
Oh, wait, Mom. I just got a message. My friends keep commenting on my comment. Oh, there's another one. So many comments on my comment.
Oh, I can't wait to watch TV tonight. Playoffs!
Hey, guys, check out my new video game. Wait. Mom, what?
What? Hold
What'd you say? Wait a second, what?
This weekend, unplug. Take your family to the forest. There's nothing in the world like experiencing nature firsthand. Trees, paths, bluebirds, streams. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Free stuff for you just for listening to this station. Yo, we got your attention? Here's how it works. You click on the Radio Loyalty banner right now and sign up. Then you keep on listening like you already do. But now you earn points. Those points add up, and you can trade them in for cool stuff in the Radio Loyalty store. Earn more points by sharing your station with friends on Facebook and Twitter, answering surveys, and by using the apps in the New Players App Store. Pretty simple. Free stuff just for doing what you already do. Radio Loyalty. Click the banner to join now.
I didn't realize, and it had a place for you to put your clothes and your shoes if you was to get naked, but it wasn't that kind of parlor. Right. Yeah, right. With the Chinese people with the little fingers and stuff. It wasn't that kind with the happy endings. But it was so good. I laid down on the table. He didn't even tell me that he was getting ready to turn this machine on that was going to, I fell asleep. It was like 3 minutes in, I was gone. And it was only for 10 minutes. Wow. But I was gone 3 minutes. I was like, and it massaged, not only did it do the part where I was injured, but it did all the way up to the top of my skull, like right there in the middle. That's why I was gone. It was like giving me the neck treatment. It was like a passion mark. But, it was really good. It felt wonderful. It was wonderful.
Passion marks hurt.
I know. It was hurt so good.
You be trying to enjoy it, like,
stop the blood. Am I bleeding?
Oh. Yeah. Oh. That's enough.
Keep going. It was one of those. It was really, really fun, though. I enjoyed it so much. I mean it. I can't wait till tomorrow. Tomorrow I just might get naked without them asking me. Why are you naked? But you got this thing going.
Kill the visual. Kill the visual.
Like this. Like I am ready. Get your baby. Thank you. I'm gonna have a baby.
From north, east, south, and west, you're listening to TheExposedRadio.com.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes.
You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You have tuned back into the Lady O Show, and we're here in the studio with Carmel Brooks, Natalie Graham Crackers. That quick, you know what? I'm getting older. The brain freeze. All right. But anyway, we're tuned in. You are tuned in tonight, and again, let me just share. Let me give you, for those that may have joined in on the line just now. We are dealing with, and the topic tonight is domestic violence, and it's real. People all over are dealing with some type of domestic violence, whether it's by beating or verbal. It's still domestic violence, and it's real. We have a young lady here that her mother was killed when she was 17 years old to a domestic violence. And I'm telling you, when I really read in the story and how this man, before he even killed her, he beat her really bad. He used cigarettes, strangled her. I mean, just abusive in every facet of the imagination, what he could have done to this woman. Then after beating her, he had the audacity to light her on fire, set her on fire. And here, this young lady is here tonight to share this story about her mom. But before we go into asking about the forgiveness part, how she could forgive, I have a Natalie here that's going to share. You'll have a question that she posed out there on the air.
Yes. My question is to you, how was it for you to learn how to trust a man in your life again after dealing with all of this?
I went through years of not being able to trust. But I think what it is too, because when my mother got killed, I had only had one boyfriend. So I didn't have to trust anybody else. I knew him before, you know what I mean? He was my children, so I didn't. But after that relationship ended after 12 years, and I was 22 at the time.
Right.
After that relationship ended and I went into another relationship, that's when the trust issue became an issue for me.
Okay.
But you know what I had to learn? I had to learn that they were not him.
Okay, so that's
what
good
I had to learn.
Yes.
Because people who stay bound to that is because you're still seeing the person that hurt you.
Right.
And that person that you know that you're with, and it's not fair because I wouldn't want nobody to treat me that way.
Exactly.
So that was good that Natalie, she was able to not allow the situation of her mom deter her from being in a relationship, even though she said you build trust issues. But it's amazing that you could have turned into another lifestyle, because a lot of times people go through that. They go into just, they don't trust men. I'm keeping it real because you got to teach truth, and it's real. But for you, we got a phone call. No, we don't. Okay, I thought I heard that phone ring. Anyway, it's amazing that you was able to not be angry and bitter with men, because that do happen. So I want to celebrate you and appreciate you. Let's give her a hand. We appreciate you. Now, I want to talk, Natalie, you got to answer your question?
Yeah, that answer.
Okay,
yes,
great.
thank you.
We don't want to never leave anything answered or whatever. But now, my concern, and it is what it is, this young lady was able to forgive the murderer. I'm going to use the word murderer, killer, after this man abusively killed your mom like he did. Years later, and I believe you said it was 14 years later, you was able to go to the prison and talk to him. Just tell the audience of people that are listening, and that if you're tuned into the show on domestic violence, a young lady that's here sharing about how her mother was killed, but how years later she was able to forgive the murderer.
What happened is
Wait a minute, excuse me. before we do that, if you feel free to give me a call here in the studio at 1-855-835-5857, extension 1, or feel free to text us your message at 443-642-9403. Thank you.
What happened was I had got a relationship with God. I had gotten saved. And I had been saying that I loved God and I loved my enemies. And the day came that I had to put up everything that I was saying. And I'm in the military, and I was on one of my weekends in Dover, and one of the correctional officers from the Smyrna penitentiary where he was, he knew him because I asked about him. And he said, yeah, I know him. And he sort of kind of started this thing, because at this point, God is now orchestrating how I can get to prove to him that I honestly forgave him. And so we had to go in a thing with the letters, and he wrote me a letter telling me that he wanted me to come and see him. And so that's how I ended up at the prison. Well, that was my path to getting to the prison to see him.
So stop right there. So you was able to go into the prison. So when you met him, was you angry? Was you bitter?
I was
How did
afraid.
you feel? You was afraid.
I was afraid. I was afraid because I had not seen you in 14 years. Was he going to know who I was? You know, did he really know what I look like now? Because I was 17. You know what I mean? At that time.
14 years later.
And I went into the prison, and I never forget, I stood because I wasn't sure that he would know who I was. But he walked directly to me, and I went to embrace him. And you know how people pitter-pat you on your back? That's what he was doing. And I said to him, no, I didn't come here for pitter-pat. And I grabbed him and I hugged him so tight.
Wow.
And it's almost like I felt a release.
For yourself.
For
so that was
myself.
when you were being delivered.
Because what happened was, he then lifted his hands up and began to worship. He said, Lord, I know this is a day that you've made, because he's thought about this.
Wow, these in your hand. This is on. This brings tears to your eyes. Oh my God.
So he's thought about it.
Wow.
But you know what happened? True forgiveness took place.
Yeah.
True forgiveness meaning I forgot all about it, because at this point, you know, I said to him, you were on your way to heaven. And with all of my bitterness, my anger, and all of the things I felt, I was going to hell. And y'all, I was in church every day that the doors was open.
Wow. So in reality, you had to really, this was really for you. When you went to the prison, because I'm understanding this was for you to be delivered. So you was able, he pity-packed the hug, but then you was able to embrace harder, but let you know that you had walked into the spirit of forgiveness. Wow. What an amazement story.
And then he wanted to talk about what had happened. And I said, I didn't come here to hear what happened. I came to let you know that I forgive you and that I still love you, and I love you with the love of the Lord.
Wow, this is amazing. How in the world? That's the love of God. Man, when you can really forgive the killer, the murderer, that did this, snatch your mom away from you at a young age, but 14 years later, able to walk. Okay, we have a call. Yes, hello, you want to listen to the Lady O Show? Hello?
Hi, good evening, this is Sister Jan. Hi, Lady O. Hi, Natalie.
Hi, Sister Jan. Oh, this is my sweetheart on the phone. We love Sister Jan.
Yeah.
Hi, sweetie. Isn't this amazing, daughter Jade, listening to your voice?
I am sitting here. I was listening to the story, knew somewhat of your story, Carmel, but did not know it to that depth, and to be able to listen to you tonight with such strength and such courage, and telling the story to be able to help someone. I really am inspired by you, and I'm really listening in awe that God can be able to heal you to a degree that you can speak with such strength at this time. So I just wanted to call in and salute you, and just say that I'm just totally. I really am sitting here in awe that you can speak to such strength, because to go through all of that at such a young age and to be able to at this point still talk about the goodness of God even in the midst of that tragedy is an awesome testimony, and to God be the glory. Love you, sis.
Love you.
Thank
you, daughter, for calling in. It's an amazing story to hear how she triumphed over great adversities and talking strong. But what amazes me so about this story, the forgiveness part.
Yes.
And to hear such strong, you're not really, you have some people say, I forgave, but then you're not feeling it.
Yes.
You can really feel the sincerity out of your heart.
Yes.
So let's again celebrate her and appreciate her. I'm right there with you, Sister Jan. Wow.
And can I say this? Because
thank you so much for calling in. Appreciate you.
But can I just say this?
Go ahead, daughter. Go ahead.
I was saying true forgiveness is forgetting.
Yes.
What people don't know is that forgiveness is twofold. See, when God forgave us, it was twofold. He said, I've forgiven you, and I threw it into the sea of forgetfulness. That means he's not going to remember it anymore. See, so we got to get that. That's what God gave to me. And I love to share that. And I wanted to say this, is that he received life without parole and 10 years. And I could have asked for the death penalty, but I didn't. I didn't understand why not. But I just know that I felt that he had to suffer. To kill him would have made it easy.
Easy, right.
But
absolutely.
I wanted him to suffer. So me being able to go and visit him in a forgiveness state, I wanted to hear what he had been doing. And he began to tell me, Carmel, I went to college. I got 2 degrees. He got a law degree. He got a business degree. He says that he, the jailhouse lawyer, helped guys go through their case. But he's also sick. So he's also attracted HIV. So he has to live with that. And the thing of it is, can you just imagine being able to be free, but you're still bound?
Wow.
It's to be free. And see, he wanted a relationship after we met, but I didn't come there for a relationship.
You came. You went one
I
thing
came
only.
solely to let you know I forgave you.
Wow.
Because how was it that the man that killed my mother would make it into heaven before me?
Wow.
No, that wasn't going to happen.
Wow.
Not at all.
You know what? This is such an empowering situation here, because a lot of times people have a hard time forgiving people. So to have true forgiveness, true forgiveness, meaning that it's over. I didn't come for a relationship. I just want to forgive you, because you will, you know what, and you're right. You said something very keen here that captivated my attention immediately, that a lot of times the people that have done the wrong, they've asked for forgiveness.
Moved on.
They've moved on, and we're still harboring the spirit of unforgiveness. So we have to release that. So you have been able to show us how to release people that have done wrong to us, that have hurt us, that have been bitter. And it's not easy.
No, it isn't.
But for you, 14 years later, so within those 14 years, what was constantly going through your mind? Because something had to have been going through your mind. 14 years.
The 14 years, it was me being mad. It was me being upset. You know what I mean? For times that I needed my mother and I could not have her. See, I grew up in a household of alcoholics and drug addicts. but my mother was neither.
Wow.
My mother wasn't a drinker or a smoker. That was all my aunts and uncles. So my mother was the good kid.
Right.
So God, why would you take the good kid?
Mm-hmm.
See, so these questions drew me closer to
God,
him.
to him.
Mm-hmm.
So your relationship with God was more stronger in that season of your life. So was you always brought up in the God-fearing family?
Not
How
at
did
all.
you get to know
Not
God?
at all. Wow. This brought me closer to God.
So who took you to church? I mean, I'm trying.
Nobody took me to church. My grandmother's house was beside a church, and they would come around and ask people for children to be in the Easter program, to be in the Christmas program, and my grandmother would make me go.
Oh, wow.
Well, thank God. Well, thank God that you had that, because this story is real. But how you was able to triumph over it, that's what's so amazing to me. And years later, and like you said, 14 years, that was all the anger, the bitterness, the stuff that you had to deal with. I mean, the absence of the mom. But 14 years later to go, because somebody must have tuned in just now, and I just want you to hear this, how this woman was able to ask for forgiveness of this murderer, this killer that killed her mother. You got to celebrate this woman. Wow. I want to give her a standing ovation, a hand clap, or whatever, because that takes courage.
Yes, it does.
That was courage.
And can I just encourage somebody this? Forgiveness brings about healing.
Yes, it does.
You can have all the counseling in the world, but if you have not forgiven the person that hurt you, you can't heal from it.
No,
you can go to all of the counselors you want every session, but if you're still holding on to that, you won't heal. My forgiveness allowed me to begin to heal.
Yes.
That's right.
Wow.
So that's what happened to me. I had to be healed, but it only came through true forgiveness.
True forgiveness. So if you're tuned into the Lady O Show on tonight, and if you've had a hard time dealing with true forgiveness or forgiving someone that have hurt you, and just not in domestic violence, just other areas of your life, and you're still walking in that spirit of unforgiveness, you need to be tuned into this show and listen how this woman was able to forgive the killer that killed her mother. Not only did he beat her and do whatever, but then set her on fire, and able to sit here tonight and say with assurance that she forgave this killer.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Yes.
Amazing. So as we move forward, we have a couple of more minutes on the air. I know there's some great things. First of all, I want to appreciate you for coming in to the show, because domestic violence is the real deal. It's really happening. A lot of people are being abused every day. They don't know the real deal. They think so somebody beats you, then hits you, then they love you. That's confusion right there, and that's what happens. And it's hard to get away from it or walk away. But if you're out there tonight and you're being dealt with that or dealing with that, please get out of it. That's not a healthy relationship at all. Somebody that love you will not beat on you.
And you know, moving, because I know we got a top of com, just wanted to say this. Knowing how much you're worth is one thing, but when you understand how valuable you are, that's another.
Yes.
See, because a lot of times people don't know how worth their value, so they stay in those kind of situations. But value says you're priceless.
Yes, that's it.
Value said there is nothing that man can do that will buy you. See, that's what worth says.
That's right.
Worth says that there's something that I can do or I can buy that will get you to stay or get you with me. But when you understand as a woman that you're valuable, that, because I know that I say a lot, because God is what brought me to where I am. The Bible says that a virtuous woman is far more valuable than rubies.
Rubies, absolutely.
That means that she is far more priceless than any stone.
Yes, absolutely.
So if you're listening and you hear what we're saying, understand tonight, I want you to know that you're valuable.
You are valuable, and that's where we're going to end up with
really
this.
are.
You are valuable. You are worth more than someone knocking you around or beating around.
Yes.
You need to know your worth, know who you are, and build your confidence. If you're in a relationship,
and use your voice. Speak with your voice.
That's right.
if you're in a relationship tonight and you know that you're not valued and it's abusive, you need to find a way or seek out help or get help.
Yeah.
Listen, you're tuned into the Lady O Show. Again, my guest on tonight was Natalie Graham. I got it, Graham. And Carmel Brooks.
Yeah.
These two ladies were awesome on tonight. They were beautiful. You're going to be hearing a lot about Natalie as we move forward in the show, the Lady O Show. But I just want to let you know tonight, get out of an abusive relationship. If you're in it, seek out counsel, seek out help. But on a happier note, we're going to shift a little bit real quickly. This young lady, Carmel Brooks, has some excitement going on in her life. After all of the things that she's been through, it looked like she's moving in the right direction with some excitement. So share what's going to go on and take place. I'm going to let her tell it. The Lady O, I'm going to get out of it.
Let me just say this. Trust God, and God will bring you who you're supposed to have when you're supposed to have them. And so I've been healed to the point now where God has kept his promise to bring a man into my life, and I thank God for him.
And what's his name?
His name is Thomas.
Awesome, Thomas.
And he's a handsome young man.
And I thank God for him, because guess what? He allows me to be me. Beautiful. And it's not because of anything else. So it's weddings coming, a marriage is coming. Some good things are coming. And, even in the good things, understand that God says what? Weeping may endure for a night, but joy is going to come in the morning.
So it's your morning time. So if you're listening tonight and tuned into the Lady O Show, it's somebody's morning time. Look, we're going to take this to church. We're going to change this program, the Lady O Show, to church on tonight. But it's your morning time. Listen, if you were tuned into the Lady O Show, we were talking about domestic violence. It's real. I'm praying for you out there. It's amazing to me, this story tonight, and even my producer that's looking in just in amazement, just shaking his head when just on the forgiveness part, to be able to forgive, that's amazing. Yes, and that's what we have to walk in. I mean, this is a learning experience that even in spite of what is happening in our lives, we have to walk with the spirit of forgiveness. Let it go. Let God have his way. Happiness and joy will come. And it's proven fact. This is proven tonight. Let's celebrate Carmel Brooks. She joined my show tonight. I appreciate you so much. I wish you great success. I wish that even this season, as you're being able to get married, that it's excitement in the air by this handsome gentleman. I had to put that out there because she just grinned. She's grinning. Tommy, she's grinning on. This show is about you now. But we're just excited, and just to see that she can have a happy life and moving forward. Listen, you need to talk about domestic violence more. We don't need to let it go. We need shows like this to let you know it's real and it's help out there. And next time we come back to the show, we're going to actually have some information, gather some data. If you're out there in an abusive relationship, where you can go, locations. So we're going to make sure, and I really wanted to do that, so we're going to be more informative about where direction, where can I go if I know I'm in domestic violence, but is there a location, is there a place to go?
Pay attention to the signs. Because a lot of times we ignore the signs. If you think it, 9 times out of 10 it's happening. And this is one more thing, and I'm going to be quiet. Don't stay bound. Because when you're able to move away from it, you become free. Free to be happy. Free to be able to love again. And get all of the good things that are in store for you.
Absolutely. So listen, again, you were tuned into the Lady O Show. I appreciate you on tonight. Natalie Graham. Carmel Brooks. It has been wonderful here in the studio, having you as my guest tonight. We're looking forward to some great things happening on next week. I will be with the Baltimore Fashion Week. I'm excited about that. Designers from all over the world, so I'm excited. I'll be working again, and I loved it last year. I'm looking forward to it. Some of these ladies going to come with me on next week and just see how that's going to be a grand affair. Let me tell you, they rock it out, designers. And please, if you're tuned in, please follow my Facebook page. I'm going to upload some information about the Baltimore Fashion Week and how you can get tickets if you want to come and be a part to witness what's going on in our Baltimore metropolitan area. Shout out to Sharon Dixon, that's doing a great job. Let's appreciate her. Yeah.
It's Nixon.
Next week.
No, Nixon.
Nixon. Oh, you know what? I gave you a new name. Don't get me. I gave you a new name. But anyway, we want to celebrate her and appreciate her because she do an excellent job. We are finished. We'll be back on next Thursday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Woo.